What is up, you guys? Redrum here, and I am back with yet another guide. Sorry if I sound sick. I am. But this time I'm here with a character guide. I am actually mentoring this super sweet new player, and I thought having a replayable visual of what I'm teaching them would be very nice. Going on, I think there's some great mercenary guides out there, however, most miss out on the rescue aspects, which I get since he's a character and not the concept of rescuing. However, knowing the right build and when not to rescue is very important. As a mercenary, you are your team's brains. You need to make the most important calls in the game, so you need to be able to reliably make them. Number 1 is the basics. Mercenary is a rescue class character with 3 elbow pads, when used, to shoot you in the right direction. When this character takes damage, it takes time before the damage is set in. This means if you get an unlucky naiad terror shock, you can still rescue the survivor off chair. His decode is relatively slow, and he has slow healing as well. He has fast vaulting. For his build, you should bring Tide Turner always and Borrowed Time. Notice there is no pallet boost, since Mercenary in general does not need a knee-jerk reflex ability. Most hunters will not chase your Mercenary. Mercenary also has 3 elbow pads to work with in its place, so again, pallet boost just isn't worth it. I bring 3 on healing, since Mercenary has a debuff there, so his team can heal him faster, and then 1 on sticker. Then of course you have your self-revive. The elbow pads are a Mercenary's main item. They can be a bit crazy sometimes, so if you elbow pad in a circle somehow, don't beat yourself up over it. However, that would be very impressive. Practice is honestly the best thing for you. I recommend practicing elbow pads in single training on tricky curves and spots. What's that? A curve? I thought the elbow pads only shot you in one direction. Well, while most of the time you will be using a straightforward elbow pad, sometimes spicing it up is necessary. You can shoot yourself backwards to confuse the hunter by turning your joystick back as soon as you start the elbow pad. This is helpful if you're running into a bad area. Not only does it throw the hunter off for a bit, but also gives you an opportunity to travel back to a better place to kite. You can also add some wiggles into your joystick to curve around corners, which prevents you from running into obstacles. Which in this example is being the big rock, which I will show a few examples here. Keep in mind, mastering this is really hard. I mean, even good mercenaries who have been playing for years still mess up elbow pads, and you're not going to get it every single time, so don't be too hard on yourself, but practicing elbow pads and customs will help a lot. These elbow pads are not just for kiting, but for rescuing as well. You can use them if you get seen from afar on your way to chair, or if you're about to be late to the rescue. On rescues, you do not want to be late or get seen from afar, but that will come with experience, and, well, you can't stop from getting seen from afar every single rescue, even though that would be preferable, but life happens, and you gotta deal. You can also elbow pad off the chair after rescuing, or even after being rescued. As you play more, you should learn. On rescues, you do not want to get double hit, because that makes the rescue a bad rescue and puts your team at a huge disadvantage. Elbow pads can also be used to counter teleport. When the last cipher pops, let the mercenary take the gate if he has an item. If the hunter teleports, the merc just simply elbow pads off the gate, and nobody will take a hit. This also applies to cipher machines, so when you're in a very bare area, you can simply just elbow pad off the cipher once you get teleported on. This is why Mercenary is also decoding gates in higher tier level gameplays. This is also why Mercenary counters Blood Queen, because once Blood Queen uses her mirror, Mercenary uses the elbow pad and gets away from the mirror image, throwing off the Blood Queen's depth perception. Now moving on into quote-unquote more advanced ground, we got the rescuing and strategy. Strategy 1 is something you usually see early game, but if you get found by the hunter first, hide yourself. You should do this by running behind walls and keeping out of sight from the hunter as long as possible. The hunter will not chase a mercenary if they're good, and so if you want to waste their time, it gives the hunter a late start, as they will chase targets once they realize who they are chasing. Strategy 2 and 3 are less of a strategy, but a rescuer law, as this goes for all rescuers. Do not get double hit at all costs if you can. I know that's harder than it sounds, but if someone is kiting near your cipher, don't let the hunter hit you. Instead, if the hunter gets too close, get some distance away. Worst case scenario, you just take over the kiter cipher. If you get hit, chances are you will get hit again if you go for the rescue, which you shouldn't, but if you do, 2 people will be going down. Even if you don't rescue, it's still a bad situation, because you may be the only person with Tide Turners seeing as someone else is on the chair, and that may be your second rescuer. Why is this bad? Well, since you're the slowest decoder on the team, the cipher progress is being slowed significantly. So, if you ever feel a hunter's gonna get too close to comfort, get out of there, because it's just a recipe for disaster. Next is to not body block. This is a mistake I see a lot, but do not body block if you do not need to. This actually goes into do not get double hit. Body blocking, in retrospect, seems nice, yes, and sometimes it's actually necessary in late game to stall for cipher prime time. However, doing this early and mid game is usually not good. A law to rescuing is to not get double hit, again, so you'll have someone die on chair and someone else bleed out on the ground, not decoding. And this person is a mercenary who happens to heal very slowly. If you body block for someone, this may happen, which is a double hit, so don't body block if you don't need to. Fourth, another rescuer law is to decide whether or when not to rescue. If someone does a terrible kite and there is little to no cipher progress, usually the case is just to let them die on the chair in return for ciphers. Remember, the way to get out is to decode, so rescuing a terrible kite is usually not worth it. The amount of percentage of item, or how many items the shared survivor has, can come into huge play whether or not to rescue them. For example, if progress is a bit behind and the shared survivor is pinging they have 2 hooks, or you see they have some of their stress bubble left, you can always do a late rescue. Late rescues are not bad if they're needed. However, if you're doing a late rescue, make sure to do it at 95% of the chair rather than 55%. That's also a mistake I see a lot. Mercenary is a survivor who can take a terror shock hit or a full hit, which is basically a detention hit. Keep in mind, he cannot do this against photographer or any other hunters who have chip damage. So if a sculptor has a chip damage on the mercenary, the cipher pops and he still has that chip damage, he is dead to a detention hit, so be very, very careful. Another strategy is to save your elbow pads. I see a lot of mercenaries use all 3 of their elbow pads in the first 2 seconds, and then the hunter changes target, and then they have to spend time doing who knows what. Most of them go into chests, which chests are actual dog water, so please don't look in chests unless you have to. And it's just bad because nobody's decoding. The mercenary has no items except half of a football that doesn't even do anything because it's a mercenary and not a forward. Sure, why did this turn into a chest diss track? I don't know. Please don't use your elbow pads in the first 3 seconds of the game. Preferably, you should usually have 1 elbow pad for late game, because you can elbow pad straight off the gate if the hunter teleports on you, or just in general, if the hunter's chasing you, you have an elbow pad and you will not be able to get caught and you can use it to get to dungeon. Be very, very specific on when you want to use your elbow pads, because chances are, if the hunter's chasing you early game, they're just gonna want to get an elbow pad on you and a hit, and then they're gonna teleport. Last thing, I just posted a quick message guide the other day out of me being fed up randoms. So if you're a mercenary and you're gonna go rescue, please ping stay put I'm coming, because someone else may go to the chair, and having 2 people show up to the chair to rescue is not, especially if it's a really, really easy to hunter to rescue off of, photographer. I see some people doing double rescues for penguin. I don't really know. You can do it on your own. I don't think you should double rescue on penguin, but in general, you should always just ping your rescue ping. Some people will go anyways, even if you say, don't move, I'm coming, get out of here, and they're still not gonna ping and run to your chair and take your rescue with no tide turner and then farm this poor survivor on chair. Your whole team's life easier. Most of the time though, they know the mercenary will come to rescue. Overall, I know this is pretty short. I think this is honestly the longest guide I have on this channel, so hip hip hooray. I love unicorns, which is the survivor I am mentoring. I hope this is helpful. I will still be doing customs with you to teach you anything, so you can ask questions. Feel free to ask questions in the comments if you have a YouTube account. Honestly, I think you're doing great. I don't think you have enough talent points to unlock Tide Turner yet, so just when you get that, make sure to put that on your build and just use the build I showed in the video, because that is the best mercenary build. Again, thank you all so much for watching. This is the end of the video, so subscribe if you want to the channel. No pressure at all. And I hope you have an amazing day. Good luck with your rank sessions.